Hello and welcome to Story X Story, the podcast by Mayamada that dives deep into stories across pop culture, plus gives you advice on creating your own. It's episode 217 and I'm your co-host Nigel.
I am Tazziii, content creator and co-host.
And as always, we're bringing you interesting discussions with diverse voices. And to help us out today, as we build our own Minecraft server or something, I haven't played much Minecraft. Anyway, we brought an expert, basically, is what I'm trying to get to. Content creator, Danni Unbox. Danni, welcome to the show and thank you for being the expert on this.
Hi, thanks, Sammy.
Cool.
I'm loosely an expert.
You told me that you cosplayed as Steve, and that is the qualification. So you are the designated expert on this show. But thank you for joining us. And listeners, you can subscribe to Story X Story wherever you get your podcast from. That includes Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube as well. You can also send us your feedback and questions in a variety of ways. You can send us a voice message on our Spotify for Podcasters page. You can email us, studio77@mymatter.com, or you can throw your thoughts at us on social media. We are at Mayamada on Twitter. I get the feeling one of the few people that are still on there for now. At Mayamada TV on Instagram and TikTok, and at mayamada.com on Blue Sky, or at Life of a W Gamer on Instagram and TikTok, at Tazziii everywhere else, including at tazziii.bsky.social on Blue Sky. We've got a new website in the works, but you can still go to mayamada.com, check out the Mayamada brand and all the things that we do, as well as get our latest manga. There's also a link to our Studio 77 Discord, which itself is going to see an overhaul at some point this year. So join that, stay tuned, be part of the Mayamada community. And before we get to today's story discussions, let's update you with the latest from the Mayamada universe. If you haven't already, check out our latest comic. We have a brand new manga, Origins Against All Odds, which is available at mymatter.com, as I just mentioned. So you can check it out there. This is the first in our Origins line of stories, which features real-life team members as anthropomorphic characters in our universe, with a story told about how they got to the universe. So it's all very meta. This first one features Tazziii in the Mayamada universe for an effective, hope-filled manga about pursuing your creative career goals in the face of resistance from doubters and the world around you. So we did a whole release event as well. So if you jump on our YouTube channel, you will see the video of our My Creative Journey roundtable, which Tazziii moderated. And yeah, it was a really good discussion about just the ups and downs of building a creative career in line with the themes of the book. So check that out. Thank you to Kickstarter backers for backing that, making that possible. So hopefully people have got their rewards and stuff. And yeah, let us know what you think about that. You can also get involved in the Do I Look Like a Gamer video game representation campaign. This is our yearly campaign. Each year we do a new snapshot of 40 players and makers. Those are all out now, so you can check out the photos, check out the profiles of each of the people, from indie developers to individuals to aspiring developers. Get a wide range of people who do something around video games making and just the culture at large. And then we are working on our schedule of events. So we just had Comic-Con. We were just at London Comic-Con showcasing the campaign. We've got an upcoming event at, well, it's not our event, it's a BAFTA event, but BAFTA do their Young Game Designer showcase event. So on the 29th of June, we'll be at BAFTA headquarters talking about the campaign, showcasing the campaign. I think I'm going to be on stage. Maybe Tazziii might pull Tazziii on, who knows? I don't.
Yeah, I got hoodwinked last time.
Yeah, just like, I think we gave you some free food and it's like, you're going to be on stage.
How to capture a Tazziii.
Basically. So we'll find out what the situation is, but join us there for that event. And then we've got our own events a bit later on in the year, so stay tuned for that. Check out looklikeagamer.com for all the latest there. You can also check out our Studio 77 activities. This is where we host different shows on Twitch and also YouTube now, because I figured out the dual streaming thing. So we host different shows with creative professionals. We also play games for your amusement. So each month we have shows like the Studio 77 report, which we just did for June. So check that out depending on when you're listening. It might still be up on VOD. So Tazziii and I talk about just the latest goings on, talk about video game news stories as well. Apparently a new console was released, so we touched on that. Casual conversations with comic creators and games night. So different types of shows. Make sure you're following us there to catch each one. And if you're a young, aspiring creative professional or you know of one, then check out the My Matter Showrunners Work Experience Program. So we're creating opportunities for young people 16 and up to work with our team across comic production, events, and content creation. And we've had a bunch of young people for each of those so far this year. So it's been a really good year for that. And we're working on new cohorts of young people later in the year as well. So check that out if you are interested. So now you're all caught up with the Maya Matter universe. Let's talk about some of the stories that we've been enjoying this week.
So this is a chance for us to have a spoiler-free discussion about what stories everyone has been reading, watching, or playing. And we like to start with our guests. So Danni, do you want to go first?
So, I mean, to be honest, this week's just been really busy, so I've not actually had much downtime. But Minecraft, as always, at the moment, is my main sort of therapy source. I feel like it's obviously not so much a like narrated story as it's a sandbox game, but generally, I just like building that world, being alone in a big open world, and just sort of like I'm happy for people to watch. I stream it, but it's nice to know that you're sort of escaping. You're back to the basics. You got to craft stuff. You got to find those resources. Just like I don't know. That just therapy for me. Other than that, really, been watching a bit of Pirates of the Caribbean. Basically, at the moment, I have a 4-year-old, and most of my viewing time when he's around is basically what he wants to watch. So we've been watching the Minecraft movie a few times, watched Alice in Wonderland, Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, that's mostly it, to be honest. And a lot of Peter Rabbit. He loves the Beatrice Potter's house, so
I
mostly
used
that.
to love Peter Rabbit.
Are you on Bluey?
Bluey, not so much now, to be honest.
Because I hear that's the one.
Well, it was at one point, but apparently that's for babies now. He said.
Oh, okay.
It's wide words.
He's advanced. Keep up, Dad. Keep up.
Yeah. Oh, and he's also been watching Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which I quite enjoy myself, to be fair. Good series.
Nice. Little Star Wars fan.
Yes, I think he will be. We have watched a few episodes. Sometimes the attention span doesn't quite last. But I really want to get into the Clone Wars and actually sit and watch all of those with him. But again, it's so temperamental. You never know. You never know whether this week is going to be the week that you can start to do that, or if it's going to like be a few episodes and then bang, interest change. So
maybe 5. Maybe Clone Wars happens at 5.
maybe we'll see. I did try One Piece a while back. I've not watched One Piece myself at the time. And I thought, hey, everyone says about it, so it'd be quite good to watch it with him. I didn't realize how much of the sort of use of like death and dying was used. So it might not have been the best idea to watch that. So we watched a little bit of it, but yeah, we like the theme tune more than anything at the moment, to be fair.
Yeah, it is a lesson of like the real world. Maybe wait a little bit before you break that one.
Yeah, we'll come back to that one.
I have been watching quite a few things, actually more listening and glancing over because I've been suffering with some serious headaches, but it means I can fit in lots of chill anime. I did go to the cinema and watch Dan Evil Eye, which was so good, but too short. I wanted more. And it didn't end with credits. It ended with like a behind like the making of type thing. And so it was just like over. And then there was people on my screen and I was like, what? But it was really good, and I'm very much excited for season 2 of Dan. And I'm so glad that this was because it was recommended on the podcast. I can't remember who recommended it now.
The film specifically, or just the show?
Just the show.
Oh, the show. Yeah. I can't remember either.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll have to go back into the archives and find that out. And very grateful for whoever it was that recommended that. Oh my god, Dan's so great. Yeah, definitely very excited for the second season. And yeah, I mean, I'd say go and see it, but it's not in cinemas anymore. It's literally just on for the weekend.
Oh damn.
As is with a lot of like anime film releases, they're normally just on for a short spell. I have a list here, and I'm like, I probably don't need to. That's fine. We'll go into all of them. So I started watching The Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows, which was really fun. Title kind of says what it is. It's about a healer that starts a new life in the shadows. But so I've got 2 that have like very similar characters in terms of like, this is kind of not spoilers because this is the whole premise of the story and like in the description, but gets dropped from their party and was taken advantage of in their party, and they didn't realize how much skills they have. And so I really like that. But when I first started watching this, I was like, ugh, because it's got that trope of like just a guy with loads of girls around him, and they're all like different species and hate each other, but they're all in love with him. And I was like, literally 2 seconds in, it gets to this, and I was like, do I want to watch another one of these? By the second or third episode, I was like, wow, this is actually really good. And then also very similar, I've been watching The Unaware Atelier Master, which again, same premise. A main character gets dropped from their party only to find out that the skills that they think are absolutely useless are actually useful, but a lot better at the storytelling bit and better characters. That one's actually genuinely really good. They're both good, but The Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows is like, very tropey. I'm going to skip that one for now. I started watching Solo Leveling. It's all right, but it's not that good.
That's controversial for someone. I haven't watched it properly, but I've been told this is... Actually, what was I told? I got the impression it was high level.
See, I have been being recommended this for ages, and I only jumped on it this week. And then I was like, okay. But I also have seen in recently as well that people are like, oh, it's not actually that good.
Right.
I think it's very cool. It's a very cool anime. It's like, main character's so cool. But it doesn't have that much substance to it. It's kind of like, I like the character designs. I mean, I feel like there is a very deep story maybe coming, but I get the criticism of it. If this was like based on in a school with a school kid, I definitely wouldn't watch it because I'm very much over that. It's like shonen, but the character's grown up and is now an adult. Vibes. And then I also started reading the book Wild Card, which was also recommended on the podcast. Darreville recommended it. And yeah, I'm enjoying that. It's about tarot. And it's just giving me like a different perspective on tarot. It's from more of like a storytelling perspective. Yeah. Nigel, what have you been watching other than the basketball with Mario?
Yes, it's the finals. I think I already know how it's going to go, but it's the finals. So yeah, aside from
no spoilers.
Yeah, I'm predicting based on just numbers. So aside from the story of sport, I've been watching and playing some things. So I've been watching Superstore on Tazzii's recommendation. Started watching that. I was aware of it before. Just thought that looks like something I'd like because it's the Office, Parks and Rec kind of vibe. So kind of mundane job. In this case, a big box store. So if you're in America, like you're, I guess, Best Buy or Target or whatever, if you're, what do we have the equivalent here in the UK? I don't know, just a big Tesco or something, or Curry's. There you go, Curry's. So yeah, and then you just got just regular people. So I guess the lead, or one of the two main characters is Jonah, who's new. So he's coming from business school, so he's coming here, and then he's got at the moment, because I'm 2 seasons in, the will they won't they with Amy, who's his boss, I think. And then you just got this eclectic, random mix of characters. And yeah, no, I like it. I think I don't know. I like these kind of scenarios as well, and these mix of characters. I like the just random people who find essentially a family, because by this point they're just all together, and they, even though they don't all like each other, sort of in the moment to moment, they all like each other being there, and it just fits. It's always interesting with these things, like going from season 1 to season 2 and how they change some of the characters. So like The Office, for example, Michael Scott was a meaner character in season 1, and then because in between season 1 and 2, Steve Carell got famous because he did the 40-Year-Old Virgin, and then that was a much warmer character, so they adapted Michael Scott, gave him heart. And I think it's just a fantastic decision because he's such a great character from then on. So it's interesting in Superstore to see how they've shifted and adjusted characters. I'm thinking Dina mostly. But yeah, no, it's funny. It's funny. It's a light watch. I enjoy watching that. I've been playing, sort of going back to the well. So I started playing GTA 5 again. I've been given a deadline before 6. I've been given because at one point I was like, I'm never going to finish this game before the new one comes out, and then it got delayed. I'm like, I could do that. So I'm going to actually finish, because I've finished the majority of GTA games over history. I think, actually, to be fair, the last 2 I haven't finished. I didn't finish 4 either, but I think I've pretty much finished all the other ones. So starting again, because I lost my save file. And it's GTA. I feel at this point I don't really need to explain that. It's GTA. So I'm replaying it to get back into the GTA groove. I will talk a bit more about Astrobot, which I'm dipping into again. That's such a great game. Like, Astrobot is such a great game. It's a fantastic platformer. I could just go on and on. But where I'm at the moment, so I'm also trying to finish this game because I haven't quite finished it, and they add new content on. But one of the things that's really good about this game, so it's quite an easy game to pick up and play. And I've heard many stories about people with kids who play with their kids, and it's like, it's great for that as well. But it is also a good platformer, and there are also bits where the difficulty will ramp up. So all the different mechanics and navigation that you use to get around levels and puzzles, there are some levels that just ratchet up the difficulty. And as we record last night, I got to one of those bits, I got to another one of those bits, and I reached a point in a game. You know, when sometimes you're playing a game and you're just like, we are not going anywhere until I get past this bit. This was, I don't know what time, it was late. I was like, we are not going anywhere. And I'm doing this bit over and over. I must have at least a dozen times just tried, failed. It's one of those levels where you basically got one shot at it, just go with the flowing and get every bit. Otherwise you start again. And I just got to a point just like, nothing's happening until we get to this bit. And it's frustrating in a good way. But when you get it, that's fantastic. And we could sleep. So that was my evening. But yeah, excellent. Really enjoy that game. And lastly, Black Mirror. I started watching the new season of Black Mirror. Those that are keen listeners of the podcast will know this is Black Mirror. The previous season was my most disappointing story of the year, because it was not it was a mixed to bad season, I would say, including one episode that was just probably the worst episode of Black Mirror, just because it was not a Black Mirror episode. But I'm encouraged to say, after I've only seen one episode, but I'm very pleased with what I saw. It feels Black Mirror, which is the somehow managing to straddle the familiar but foreign and very uneasy while I'm watching what could really happen today. That's the perfect mix of Black Mirror. So hopefully it continues like that. But encouraged by that. So we'll see when we do our end of year lists. Whether we should do we have like a phoenix rising from the ashes segment on that? But
maybe it's a new segment.
Yeah. But it's good. It's good so far. It's this one episode that I've seen, but I'm encouraged. So Yeah,
I want a series called Clear Window, which is
Clear
like
Wind. Yeah,
the reverse of Black
right.
Mirror.
Yeah,
Black Mirror.
yeah. Technology only goes in good directions.
I need my what's the opposite of a dystopian?
Utopian.
Utopian, yeah. I need my utopian future. Give me
We could
something
all
to
use some of that, but then almost that would be the more fantasy because that would be unrealistic compared to reality. But
Yeah, that's why I don't like Black Mirror, because it's too
yeah,
realistic.
it's so because and this episode was like it made me think of, I won't go into what the episode was, but it made me think of essentially subscription services and how we're increasingly just giving our money to companies who can just take it out every month and just turn up the price when they feel like it. And that's scary. The episode was scary, but that is also scary.
Surprised that was even allowed on Netflix.
But yeah, it is.
That's how powerful they are now. They don't need to
Yeah, well,
worry.
you can't even stop us. Shut up and give us your money. We're not sponsored by Netflix. So yeah, those are all the stories that we have been enjoying or slightly creeped out by. Now let's get to our main story discussion. Today, we are going to be talking about a Minecraft movie, the 2025 comedy film based on the video game Minecraft by Mojang Studios. It was directed by Jared Hess and written by Chris Bowman, Hubble Palmer, Neil Widener, Gavin James, I didn't realize this list was so long, and Chris Scaletta, from a story by Alison Schroeder, Bowman, and Palmer. That is the longest written by list I think we've had on this podcast. The film stars Jason Momoa, Jack Black, Daniel Brooks, Emma Myers, and Sebastian Hansen. So, spoiler alert, we are going to be talking about all the details in this story. I will do a recap of the story, but first, let's get everyone's quick takes and general impressions. We will start with Danny. Danny, let us know. What did you think? Did this match up to your expectations?
I'll be honest. I didn't really have expectations as such.
It's not a bad way to go in.
No, everyone was saying like, "Oh, it's got to be like this. It's got to be like that." But like I said earlier, Minecraft's a sandbox game. It's kind of what you make it. So I think to everyone, it would be different. Everyone that's played it, it would have a different meaning, a different story potentially. So my impression was amazing marketing skills. Like the game's already the best-selling game of all time, and now they've embedded it in people's heads even more so. People that would never have known about Minecraft, essentially, other than their children play it. But I just thought it was a really fun film, to be honest. I just had a good time and didn't read too much into it, to be fair.
That sounds good. Low expectations. Tazziii, what did you think of this film?
I also, as I mostly do, especially with video game movies, is went in with zero expectations, because going in with any expectation is a recipe to get your heart broken. Borderlands looking at you. And I went in with zero expectations. Well, maybe just one. Make it good. Anyway, yeah, I went in with zero expectations. I don't watch trailers, but I had like caught glimpse of like squareness. Which made me giggle. Actually, that's one of the things that I was like, yeah, no, I gotta see this. But I think the acting in this, especially from Emma Myers and Sebastian, Eugene Hansen, and Daniel Brooks, who is always a delight to watch, was really good. I think they really captured those characters and made it have a lot of feeling, especially Emma Myers. I was very impressed with her. Also, like, I feel like when I was watching this, it just had so much charm to it. This is, I think, such a good movie for Minecraft. It made me, and it was a very good like marketing thing, because I was like, and it's just the moment the Minecraft music started playing, I was like, I want to play Minecraft. And there was just like lots of little moments in it that just felt like Minecraft. And I've not played much. Every now and again I go, oh, I'm gonna get into Minecraft, and then I'm like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed by how much of a sandbox it is in the night. but it still managed to like just capture so many of those like little bits, because like the game mechanics, I'm like, how are you gonna portray that? And I think they just done such a good thing. And it was funny, so like the cinema, there was like 10, 15 people in the cinema when I went to see it.
Okay.
And I say people, mainly children.
So, yeah, I assumed. Yeah.
I'm happy that there was at least one other adult by themselves. I was like, okay, cool. But it was funny because there was moments where this movie made me laugh so much. There was moments where like the kids were laughing at things that I clearly didn't get, but there was moments where I was laughing and like maybe one other person was laughing. And then there was moments where just the adults were laughing. And then there was moments where everyone was laughing. And I think that's a really good sign for a family movie, is if everyone can laugh at different bits, because there's a bit of everything. And I feel like there's so many different people in, like, personas in it. You sort of got, like, the older gamers, you've got the new gamer, you've got the people that don't actually necessarily play games but know about them but are willing to get involved for their family members, kind of thing. So I feel like it just shows like different people, and I think it has like a really nice message around it as well. Yeah, I did not get the second post-credit scene though.
Oh, did I miss that? You might have to fill us in.
It was like 2 seconds long, but I was so confused. I feel like there was information I needed to know.
All right, so my thoughts, like I said, a bit of a roller coaster. So if you sort of strap in and follow me on this journey of my thoughts on Minecraft. So I didn't have expectations. In fact, my expectations were so low. This wasn't on the schedule until quite recently. I just missed. Not that I knew it was out, but for reasons that might become clear a bit later, I just missed it.
It's funny because my reaction was, oh, I thought it was already on the schedule.
Yeah, he's sensible. Yeah, reasonable. It's definitely in our wheelhouse. But yeah, and then also a disclaimer. So it might sound like I don't like this film, but yeah, just bear with me. So firstly, I don't think this is a good film. I don't think this is a good film for reasons I will explain. And as I'm watching it, like, this isn't a good film. However, I cast my mind back to past episodes of the podcast where we've spoken about, in fact, Borderlands. So I don't know, Borderlands just keeps catching strays whenever we do the podcast. And Thor: Love and Thunder. This is a better film than those two films, probably combined, actually. I know it isn't saying much, but bear with me. Because I think what it does and what it's here for, I think it does so well. It just everything comes together so well to deliver what I think the purpose is. And what the purpose is what I thought the Lego movie would be. So this is the film I originally thought the Lego movie would be, first of all, which is why it probably took so long for us to cover that film. So what I mean by that is one of my fears with the Lego movie is that it was only done to market Lego. And I guess ultimately it was, but there's actually a really good story in here. This story isn't as good as that, but what it does in terms of the marketing, I feel is so good. And like Tazziii said, has provided something that can entertain on different levels. And it does that really, really well. But I don't think it's a good movie. So that's my roller coaster thoughts on this film. And then we're going to dig into that.
Hater.
That was wild.
Yes. I don't, all these thoughts are coming off as I was watching this film. So I will be the designated hater on this. I'll take that. But let's get into the recap. So I'll do a recap and then we'll dive in. So this is a story that takes us to Steve, who breaks into a mine to fulfill a childhood dream and discovers the Orb of Dominance and the Earth Crystal. When combined, they create a portal to the overworld, where the terrain is made up of manipulated cubes. Steve built his own paradise, but later stumbles across a portal to the Nether, where he is imprisoned by Malgosha, the gold-obsessed piglin ruler who does not like creativity. Steve's dog Dennis escapes with the orb and crystal, hiding them under his bed in the real world. And then we see 80s video game champion Garrett, the garbage man Garrison, who owns a failing video game store and heads to an auction where he wins the contents of Steve's old house. Hoping to find an Atari Cosmos, he instead finds Steve's old belongings, including the orb and the crystal. Meanwhile, brother and sister pair, Henry and Natalie, move in following their mother's death and meet their real estate agent, Dawn. Henry gets into trouble at school when his experimental jetpack damages the nearby potato chip factory. That's a weird sentence to say. He pays Garrett to pretend to be his uncle, who takes him to the video game store where they discover the orb and the crystal, leading them to Steve's mine. Natalie and Dawn track Henry's location, and the four are sucked into the portal to the overworld. Malgosha learns that the orb has returned and releases Steve from his imprisonment in the Nether to reclaim it. Henry learns to manipulate blocks and builds a wooden fortress, but the Earth Crystal is destroyed while fighting off monsters. Steve appears at dawn and defeats them, telling the group their replacement crystal is needed and joins them on the mission. He leads them to a village and shows them how to craft. Piglins soon attack the village. Steve, Garrett, and Henry narrowly escape while Natalie and Dawn are separated. When Steve mentioned that he has a hoard of diamonds, Garrett becomes interested and demands access as an added condition, handing over the orb. They make a detour to find the hoard, but Henry is angered when he discovers this and their general disregard for Natalie's safety. Then the Great Hog arrives. They escape using minecrafts and the hog is blown up by creepers. Arriving at their destination, Steve and Garrett distract the guards while Henry gets the Earth Crystal and the Ender Pearl, which can facilitate transportation. Malgosha returns and destroys the bridge to the mansion. Steve and Henry lose the orb to her but escape as Garrett sacrifices himself. The others wake up with Dawn and Natalie and Dennis in a mushroom house. Malgosha uses the orb to superpower the Nether portal, blotting out the sun and declaring war on the overworld. The party then crafts an arsenal of weaponry and an army of iron golems to fight the Piglin invasion, while Steve fights Malgosha. Henry uses the Ender Pearl to obtain a crystal, restoring the sunlight and causing Malgosha and her army to zombify. The party, including Garrett, who survived the explosion, returns to Chuglas, where they develop the successful video game Block City Battle Buddies. Dawn operates a zoo with Dennis as an attraction, and Natalie begins teaching self-defense classes. Henry finishes his jetpack, and Garrett revitalizes the game store with Steve. The end. And Tazzy, you said there
was 2 post-credit scenes.
Okay, did I just
Did you get either of them? I mean, the first one happens like instantly. It's
yeah, I must have got the. I'm pretty sure I didn't get the second one.
Okay. Do you want me to explain the second?
Yeah, go and explain the second one.
Explain. I don't know what to explain.
Yeah.
It's like
recount. Give us the report.
It's like 2 seconds long. It's Jack Black knocking on the door of his old house and being like, "Hey, I used to live here. I'm just wondering if in the attic." And then the person goes, "Oh, the chest in the attic?" And then Jack Black's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, come in." And then I think she says, "Hi, my name's Alex," and then that's it. I think it was Alex. I may have remembered wrong. It felt like the name was the significant part there.
Yeah, well, for Minecraft fans, that's quite a big thing because basically the Minecraft movie is called a Minecraft movie, not the Minecraft movie.
I did notice that.
Yeah, and that's because the aim is that they can do multiple movies with different stories from around the universe. So Alex, and she was also wearing the same clothing, is basically the female version of Steve in the game.
I didn't know their names, see.
Yeah.
But now I've looked it up. I'm like, oh yeah, I know.
Oh, so that was Kate McKinnon.
Yes. So that will lead on to what I assume would be the second Minecraft movie.
Right. Got it. Okay, no, I definitely didn't see that. But I did see like Kate McKinnon was in this, and I was like, I didn't see Kate McKinnon. I would have noticed if Kate McKinnon was in it because she's fantastic, hilarious. Okay, I'm now a lot more interested for a sequel. Now you got me.
You went from this isn't a good movie to I want to see the second one real quick.
I just needed to stick at it for a bit longer.
Can I just go back to the first cameo? Something that you guys might not have realised.
Oh, there's an actual Minecraft YouTuber in there, isn't there?
No.
Okay.
So Nitwit, which is basically a nitwitting game, is a villager it wears a different outfit to the others, and it's basically a unemployed villager that has no purpose to some extent. And basically the story arc is obviously he comes into the real world, he meets Jennifer Coolidge, who is Stifler's mum too. A lot of people of a certain age.
Yeah. Got that.
And basically As the love interest, Nitwit develops the English language basically, and it's voiced by Matt Berry, who was actually meant to play Steve originally, but couldn't do it due to scheduling. So,
Oh my god, no, in another universe, there's a version of Minecraft where
It's
Matt
Matt
Berry
Berry.
plays Steve. Oh my god, no. Why did I not have that version? I version so badly.
but I
Maybe
think
for a
I
future.
like I really like Matt Berry, but I think Jack Black made it. I don't think
Yeah,
in guys now there couldn't be another
Jack Black
Steve
works.
because the songs, like who would have wrote the songs?
See, I was very unimpressed by the songs.
Ah,
I was like, this is some of Jack Black's worst material.
Oh.
Like, where's the catchiness? Like, what's going on here? Like,
Interesting.
yeah, no, I literally audibly, like, I don't know what sound came out of me when Matt Berry started talking as the nitwit. He just makes me laugh so much.
yeah, I'm amazed because I like a lot of Jack Black's work, but Steve's Lava Chicken, that has got to be one of the most catchiest songs I've ever heard. And I feel like if a fast food restaurant had got that, they would have instantly become the most viral fast food place
But
ever.
yeah, right on, right on cue. Where's KFC? Like, just get get on that. So, I mean, all the brand tie-ins is interesting because again, there's such a great like, and I guess Minecraft itself, along with like Roblox and Fortnite, are up there in terms of like tie-ins. But what I didn't know is that this was a very long time in the making because I think it's like 10. I feel I read 10 years ago they were trying to get this made. So for those that don't know yet, Minecraft, as Danny mentioned, I think is the #1 best-selling game of all time. So it's created by indie developer Mojang AB, and yeah, the Xbox version has sold well over 10 million copies. It's just talk to any kid and they'll know about Minecraft and tell you how they're playing Roblox because Roblox is free. I think that's how that interaction would go. And like I said, I feel it makes perfect sense that there's a film. This is the film that I thought the Lego movie would be, and I think it came after the success of the Lego movie. Like, yeah, let's do this for Minecraft. I should have asked at the beginning actually, how much Minecraft has everyone played? Because I have not played that much, as will, if it's not already apparent, will become apparent.
What's not that much? Like, ballpark of hours?
Like a handful of hours, most of them at past My Matter events.
Cool. It's really hard to gauge because when I play it, I tend to sink in like a lot of hours in a week and then not touch it for a year. And then maybe like, I don't know if it's more or less than 100.
Okay. Okay. So let's say more.
But that's spread out over. Yeah, actually, yeah, it probably is more. But that's
if you
spread
don't know,
out
it may
over
as well
like
be.
how long has it been out again?
About 13 years, or maybe
So
a bit more, I think.
maybe over like 12 years or 11 years, 100 hours, give or take. Probably give. Most likely give.
Most likely give.
Most likely give quite a few, but yeah.
I think for me, well, over the last 2 months, my stream, which has been more or less purely Minecraft, has, I think I racked up about 240 hours. But in terms of playing it, I was just trying to look for an old photo that I found recently. But I've been playing it for well over 10 years, on and off. Yeah, I've put a lot of time in. But one thing that amazes most people is that I've not actually technically completed the game because there's the Endar Dragon, which is to most people the end of the game. Although you obviously continue playing, that's sort of seen as the final boss. I've never done it, but I think
Okay.
I'm building my way up to it now with my current world because I've just been investing so much time into it. It's been a learning experience because the game has changed so much. There's like constant things to learn. And since I started playing, I mean, the change in the game is absolutely humongous how much they've added. And some of the mechanics have obviously changed. But yeah, there's a interestingly, what you guys have said, there's a thing known as, I think it's known as a few different things, but generally it's known as the 3-week phase with Minecraft. And it's basically people go full out on it for a few weeks, completely burn out because they try doing too much too fast. And yeah, they end up quitting. And I think that's what I found interesting over the last 2 months of streaming it. When I've streamed it before, I've had it on a lesser extent, but where my stream has been so popular, it's just been constant. But you get a lot of people, one, asking when you were going to either get a certain set of armor or do a certain boss, and then you get a lot of suggestions. And I think this is the problem, because if you go watch a lot of content out there on building in Minecraft, people have some really extravagant builds. There are certain programs, I think, that you can use that sort of help with the building process on a larger scale. But essentially, a lot of people do a lot of things that are so grand and extravagant that it kind of takes away the enjoyment for some people.
Or like I'll never make that, so there's no point, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think
Right.
once you get started, if you're not using the programs especially, it takes a lot of time. So it's like, for me, I get a lot of compliments on my like village and my builds, but I basically build everything from just like playing the game and going, oh, how about I do this? How about I do that? And just like that's what the game's made for. It's meant to be a creative experience, right? Like Lego used to be before it was kit that told you what to build. And I think that's kind of a skill that we need to be careful of losing, especially in children, because I feel like if we keep giving everyone the answer sheets, probably a bit like people's feelings with AI, it's basically because you've got so much at your fingertips now, so much knowledge,
Why
it
bother
cuts
thinking?
out, yeah, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of understanding that even with things like AI, if you have prior knowledge, then you can control the AI, the machines, anything you do better. So that's why you need those fundamentals of life skills and creativity, really. And I think it'd be a shame if we lose that creativity, basically, just because everything becomes so pre-built and predetermined. Probably,
Yeah.
I haven't watched much Black Mirror, but I can imagine that could probably be an episode. So,
Yeah. There's it might already be, but yeah, no, you're preaching to the choir. You're on the right podcast. So everything you said, I co-sign, and we're gonna delve into that because there is a creativity aspect in the themes here, which I did like. So yeah, and the whole AI thing, but yeah, just yes to everything that you said. I'm just like trying to restrain myself and going on a whole schools rant. I was gonna save that for now. I've got an event later this week, which I'll save that for. But
I will say that is not the reason I drop off after 3 weeks. Mine is creepers. And the fact that I mostly enjoy playing out with friends, so as soon as they're not available and our schedules ultimately get out of sync, then I'm like, I have no fun in playing in massive world by myself. And also I forget the mechanics once I've like left it for a week, so I'm like, oh, what was I doing again?
all right, so I am the ignorant, no knowledge person here. So I'm only here because, well, one, I set up the recording, and two, because I know something about stories. So that's all I'm contributing to this. Otherwise, I'm just learning from you two. So I think what's cool about this, this film, we'll talk about the cool stuff for this film, but just we're getting like a stream of like decent to good video game adaptations. So we've had like Sonic has got a number of titles, Super Mario Bros. Film. So I feel like, I don't know, because I looking at it, it feels like maybe critically it hasn't hit the highs of some of those, but then just in terms of, like I said, for what it does, it's hit. So would you say this film has hit in terms of like what its mission is?
I would say yes. It's a fun family a fun
There's music in it.
family movie, and it has a storyline that still is relevant to the game. So I keep thinking of what words.
But yeah, that's right. Yes, like I said, yeah, definitely better than that. But because the other aspect of this, you said, is relevant to the game, because like Minecraft is just an open game, and it sort of reminded me of something like Fallout, where Fallout, the game is just open. You create your own character. You're essentially making your own story. So in terms of adapting, because you're essentially adapting what is, like, video games are interactive anyway, but open, like sandbox video games even more so, you're turning that into what is essentially a passive experience watching. So from a storytelling perspective, it was interesting for me to see characters like, particularly Henry. Obviously Steve's got to be in there because he's in the game, but characters like Henry, Garbage Man, Natalie, so those characters, just guessing, aren't in the game, just in case I've missed something.
I mean, there was a add-on recently where you could play
Okay.
the, like, movie characters. But yeah, essentially most people, Steve's the default character.
Yeah.
But other than that, most people make their own
Made
skins.
their own
So
character, right?
yeah.
And then this is always the interesting thing for me for adaptations, where we now have to, different mediums, so we now have to give the audience something to latch onto, like, narrative wise. And I initially thought it was Garbage Man, but I think it's more Henry, and then follow them. So do you think that works in terms of, like, delivering? Like, do you think it captured, those characters managed to capture the essence of Minecraft, or was there anything left out?
I think for me, I wasn't 100% sure on the characters the first watch through. I didn't really. I think it was just a lot to take in, because it is quite a fast-paced movie, which
Yeah,
I assume is probably aimed at the younger
this is for the
generation.
kids. Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, they
yeah,
smashed
I
that.
actually felt old watching.
Oh, I thought the pacing was really good.
Yeah. I like the pacing, but it was just one of those things where it was very, very quick. So the
Yeah.
story didn't stop once it started.
Yeah,
And
it wasn't necessarily a problem with the pace.
be
It was
fair,
just noticing
before I
the
watched-
pace. It's rather the pace rather than the pacing.
To be fair, 2 days before I watched Dandadan, and that pacing is fast. So
Okay.
maybe that's why it felt very
Fair
comfortable.
enough.
Sorry, Daddy, though.
That's all right. No, it's fine. So like, in terms of the characters, now I've seen it quite a few times, which I'm pleased about, because I'll be honest, I was doing impressions on my stream, and I watched little bits on YouTube, and I was quite disappointed with how inaccurate some of them were. But now I know, because I have heard them more, so I'm like, okay. But anyway, yes, so the characters. Yeah, I think ultimately they were just meant to represent a diverse bunch of players, because obviously players come
Right.
in all colours, shapes, sizes, and I think it was good to represent all of those age ranges as well, especially more than anything, to be honest, because I think that's kind of the one dynamic I feel like a lot of people do forget. And as Tazziii mentioned, it's one of those things where there was jokes that sort of hit different levels, and it kind of reminds me of SMTV with Ant and Dec back in the day, where they
Bringing
had a
in
lot of.
nostalgia.
I know. And it's like where they had those jokes that they would go completely over a lot of children's heads. Obviously, you'd get a laugh from the parents, but that is the one thing I felt, is that it to me it felt like an experience. I don't really know if this is the right part to go on this tangent, but it's like with the Room, for example. Now I felt like
Which
the
I have not
review.
seen, but I know the
Okay,
legend.
you need to see. You need to see. It's so good. I personally love that film because it was so bad, obviously, which is why most people like it. I think the thing is that the initial critical reviews mentioned about a Minecraft movie, and obviously I was one of the first people in the world to see it. So I had that initial like reaction in my head, and then I'm reading other people's, and I'm thinking, hang on. I felt like a lot of people misunderstood it. Because if you look at The Room, that was a unintentional bad film. It was meant to be great in in Tommy Wiseau's mind, and it turned out to be great for a completely different reason. Whereas the Minecraft movie was intentionally how it was. So I think with all of the characters now looking back after watching it a few times, they all do really deliver on their purpose. It's just not maybe completely clear the first watch through.
Okay, because and this is what I was thinking in terms of, like I say, where I don't think it's a good film, but Thor: Love and Thunder, as if you listen to the episode, I genuinely just I'm offended by that film, like genuinely.
We need to make a list of the bad zone. Films that we've aligned on. This is a not good movie.
Not good. This is, but and it is my conflicting thoughts. Cause I initially with the Minecraft movie, I was like, oh, this isn't good. But then it's doing something, and I think that something is working. And then, like you say, Dan, just looking at other people's reactions. So as I'm putting together notes for this, I like to pull in different, try and get different views. So I saw like a spectrum. For example, on Roger Ebert, so Brian Tallarico, who says it's quite damning. It says it's a wannabe blockbuster that falls short of its potential while also rising well above similar fare, which put almost no effort into their production outside of hitting enough references to satisfy a loyal fan base. And I think that might be too harsh, but I also don't think it's completely wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know what you both think of that.
I think that is slightly too harsh. Because you know what, it is still a kids' film, and I think it was.
Yeah, true.
Like, because I think that was where I was like judging it from, especially like it's just the beginning of it and how Jack Black's acting was. It was towards a younger audience. That wasn't Jack Black playing a role for an older audience. It was like, oh, he knows his audience are children, so he's playing his character for children. Like, very much so. And I think that set up the premise for me. It's like, oh, this is a kids film. This is kids film. But it actually was still. It still had a lot in there. It had a lot that was relatable for adults. Like the older characters, like you could really like relate to that. Like, you know, like, oh, a job you're not happy with and you just want to be creative, following your dream and then being absolutely broke and not being able to afford things. Like, these are relatable things for adults. Having 20 side hustles. Relatable for the adults. And then we have the fun of it, the charm, the whimsicalness, relatable for the kids. Then we've got all the references. Oh my god, there were so many that made it fun for anyone that's played Minecraft. And then there was references that were just like, do you know things about things that have happened? Here is reference for you. And I think it done that really well. It wasn't trying to be like a 10 out of 10. It wasn't trying to be Endgame. It's not a Marvel movie.
Yeah, no.
It's
well, they're working up to that, I imagine. But yeah.
It's a children's film. Like, that adults could enjoy. Okay, Lego Movie done a way better job of this, but it's still a children's film. And I feel like it done a really good job. There was a storyline, okay, which can be more said more than some other video game movies. It made sense. It captured, like, as a player, I feel like it captured as a parent, like Emma Meyer's character, I forgot her name, was Natalie, showed a lot of like the concerned parent kind of energy. Just want to keep my kid safe, even though it's not her kid, but she was playing the parent, right?
Stepping into that role.
That role, exactly. And so, yeah, I think that's really unfair. I think it was too harsh. But the points that were made, yeah, I hear it. I don't think you're wrong. I think you're harsh because it is a kids' movie. You're rating it like it's an adult, like a film for adults. It's like, bring that energy to Final Destination. I've not watched it, but I feel like same era of references.
So I think instead of a kids movie, it was a family movie.
Yeah,
and I think that's,
that's a different,
And I think one of the important things to take away is it was a adventure comedy, is what they sort of pitched it as. And I think that's what I find really odd is so many people are taking Minecraft so seriously.
Seriously, yeah, it's not that. That's not what it is, and
Yeah.
I recognize that. I understand that. Yeah.
And
So
that's
it's
why
that balance, right?
Yeah, and that's what I found really odd about the comments. Like, I was actually speaking to a guy on Instagram called Paul Lewis Puppets, and
Mm.
he actually puppeteered Dennis the dog in the movie. And what's interesting is, like, I don't think people realize there was actually a lot of production gone in there. It's not just
Yeah.
the pure graphics elements,
Mm.
basically, the CGI and stuff. It's like the villagers, I believe they were all female, but they were basically all proper outfits, and the head was CGI'd on after.
I didn't
I
even know
think,
that.
yeah, there's a lot of real elements. Like when I went to the viewing that I went to, they had like the actual props from the movie, and actually picking those up and feeling them, seeing the craftsmanship on these things.
That must have been so cool.
Yeah, it was great. And I just don't again, like for me a lot of this stuff is very, very unfair. I think it's just one of those things, it's like again, what I said at the start, what the people expect from a Minecraft movie, and that's what I think fascinates me the most because I mean it's like I compared a Minecraft to Resident Evil the other day as a joke. But it is, I mean, Tazziii, from what you said, it is a survival horror, right? You don't like creepers. Um,
Oh boy, that first
so,
night cycle, I was like absolute mood with the skeleton. I was like, they
and that's
captured
it.
that perfectly.
Yeah,
That's exactly how I feel.
yeah, and that's it. I feel like it can just mean so much, and I like again. I just don't know. I don't know what people
What the
expect. It's like,
expectation?
yeah,
Yeah.
This is what I was thinking.
I,
Like with the what were you going to say, Tazzy?
I have two things in mind. So, firstly, the props. Oh, when I was watching, I was like, this is definitely not all CGI. I was like very impressed. And then I am someone that sits and watches the credits. So I'm the last person in the cinema most of the time. And I'm watching it just for the credits, not for post-credit scenes. I'm genuinely looking at the credits.
Right.
And I was like, wow, this has a lot of credits.
Mm.
Like they were big credits. And the prop section as well was like quite hefty. So I was like really, really intrigued. And I was like I was like trying to guess all the different bits that were like full prop. And it was really impressive. And then the other thing was no, it's gone. It's
Done?
gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll so if that comes back, let us know. But so I was gonna generally agree in terms of like even with the production. So like I'll be honest, part of the reason when this was not originally on the schedule because I didn't see the whole of the trailer, but I saw enough of it, and just in my mind, I just immediately dismissed it as like something that's just so unserious that because I think it was around the time of Borderlands, and then this trailer first came out, and then I looked at it, it's like, oh, that doesn't look great. I'll be honest. I just didn't think of it. I knew it was out, but I just didn't think of it that much. But then as I'm watching it, I'm like, this doesn't look bad. It looks good. Because I don't play Minecraft, I can't say like, oh, this looks like this bit in the game that I'm playing. But I'm just looking at it. This is not a phone it in. I feel that's why I feared it was a phone it in kind of thing. But it's like as I'm watching, like this is not that. It's just this is what it has aimed for, and it's meant to look like this. The tone is meant to be like this. I feel it actually does a good job of it. So yeah, it just is. I had just conflicting thoughts while watching this.
I remembered my thought.
Oh yeah.
So it's like the way that it captures player experience, and because I said before, like how I play it is like just random spurts, right? And that's pretty much like 85% of the time because a friend's made a server or whatever, and they're like, yeah, let's jump on together. So I tend to play with like a lot of different people who have varying degrees of experience in Minecraft, and that's what the collection of characters felt like was
Sure.
those servers that I play on, and is exactly what I love about playing Minecraft. It's like one person is like, yeah, I've got all the diamond armor and and I can make automatic things like this really cool chicken lover, like and then there's like me somewhere in the middle, like I know how to craft a bucket. And then there's someone who's literally on Minecraft for the first time that's like, how do I do anything? And like that level of like player experience, I felt like captured really well. I just wanted to make that point really badly.
Yeah. No, okay. That is noted. So I was going to say, so the one criticism I like, or the main criticism I had of it was with the exposition. And again, this is with the disclaimer that I understand what this film was aiming for, so I immediately understand why they did this, because this is not the focus of the film. But you know, as I'd say in the intro, what do I say in the intro? Storytelling and helping you create stories. I don't know, stuff like that. Replay it to hear that. But it's about, you know, we talk about stories, and for those like making the stories, what to consider. And it's also a personal thing with me with like exposition. So I was worried when this film started. It basically starts with a big exposition dump. So Steve just giving the Minecraft story, which I get. I imagine for those who haven't played Minecraft, what is this all about? So on one level, I sort of appreciated it, but then it's like it is a big exposition dump. So there's that, and then we had situations where the one that immediately springs to mind is when Henry and Natalie are introduced, and because their thing is their mum passed, and so that's why Natalie. And it's one of those things where we're just told. So we're just told this is who we are, and there's a lot of that. There's a lot of telling and about like characters and their backgrounds and not showing. And again, I understand that that's not the important thing. You kind of have to put it there. This is why they're there, and we move on to what is important in this particular film. But then for me, it meant had like just little relation to the characters. The one I felt the most fleshed out, if I could say that, of any of the characters here is Garbage Man, because we see a lot of his try. We see where he is, and it's not a great situation. We see, you know, he really wants that Atari, and you see the disappointment when it's not in the box, so you can feel it. Whereas a lot of the others were just told like, this is who they are, this is why they act like this. So I don't know if that, because it sounds like it didn't necessarily impact you two, because they were reflecting the game experience that you had, whereas maybe for me, because I don't have that, I'm like trying to get at the characters, and I didn't get that from most of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because I think as well there's a lot of characters here, and they try to give them all quite loaded backstories, and you didn't really. It was kind of like just exposition dump. I wonder if they had kind of let those characters unfold as the story goes on, and like we could have learned about Natalie and Henry's parents, about Henry, like their mum later on. But I don't know if that would then make it harder to follow for the younger audience.
Yeah, and is this what that is about? So also, is that what this is about? So it's like you have to pick, because there's only so much time. Was this is an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes? So yeah, you've got to pick what you focus on. So I get that. So yeah, and there's the audience thing to it. It's just, yeah, something for me. And then what I did like is, and I didn't quite get it all the time, or sorry, I didn't quite feel it was prominent all the time, but I think it was an underlying thing about capitalism and creativity, and maybe capitalist pigs hating creativity, something like that was in there. So that's why I felt this is a film about Henry, right?
I didn't feel that.
You didn't feel that?
No, I felt
who did you think it was about then?
I didn't think it was about any of them. I think they were just
as a group,
yeah. I think it was about the experience.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
I think the experience was the main character in that. I feel like it's kind of like, because okay, the thing with video game movies is made off of people already playing their experience, especially a sandbox. It's really hard to like capture that, right? So how do you write it in a way that it doesn't feel like you're being dragged along for something that isn't your experience? So the focus kind of can't be too heavy on one individual. It has to be about the game. It has to be about the world. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Fallout did, right? So there wasn't no one character in Fallout. You had obviously a very different series and just different tone and everything, but you still had a game where you can't capture any one player's experience. So you've got to talk about the world through the eyes of a collection of characters and how they interact. So I guess I don't know if this is too far stretched to compare Minecraft to Fallout, but I feel they've done a similar thing here.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like the colours by numbers version of it.
Yeah.
I mean, interestingly, like just reflecting right now about what you guys have just said, I kind of think actually the movie's about the viewer, and I think like sort of looking deep into it, it kind of gives multiple stories, and Steve being the hero, you got Garrett, who's obviously the guy that wants to be the hero throughout the film.
Used to be the hero.
Well, in his own niche, I guess, because obviously video games have for years sort of been like to an extent in society looked down on, right? So he was a hero in his own place, and I think that's kind of like Steve in the Minecraft world. He's the main guy there. But I think what's interesting is the whole message of the film is like when they say to Steve about him coming back to the real world and bringing some of that creativity there. I think it's because, and to me, like without going into it too much, like in the content creation world, I feel like a lot of people get very stuck in a way and they feel like they can't change because they're on this wheel and they have to keep doing the same thing over and over because of the algorithm. But the reality is, if you can make stuff that's authentic to you and that breaks out to the right people at some point, that algorithm is going to divert a lot of people to you.
Yeah,
it can take time and no one knows. But I feel like, again, the message of that movie is to be creative. And I feel like, yeah, it's not, again, like Steve is the hero, but if you kind of look at what he's doing, he's kind of guiding the others in. And what's interesting is, especially the old days of Minecraft, when you play it, you were literally just dumped in a world with no understanding of why you were there. And before this, to my sort of knowledge, no one ever really knew who Steve was and who he's like, where he's from, basically, or how he got there. So I think they done. I mean, again, it sounds like like I'm giving them all the praise, but it's like
giving the Oscar. That's what Danny says.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah. I mean, again, they like, what else could you do? I feel like there wasn't much, but it's like with Henry, for example, he sort of thing was because he's naturally smart. He builds things that like no one else would have thought of because just with scraps out of the real world. He makes that gun, for example. It's basically, I think it's just about inspiring people to actually stop worrying about what the expectations are of you and just do things. And like with I think with what happens with him with the factory incident, it's like he proved that he could do it, but it went wrong, which then basically which got him in trouble, which could knock a lot of people in the real world, because obviously people do things out of creativity that cause problems.
Get told no. I did like Henry. I did. Also, Henry was sort of reminding me of an idea for character direction for Norio in The 11th Hour, without getting into spoilers, which is impossible because I haven't even written a story, but even down to the red hoodie as well. Yes, spoil it to myself. So I saw a lot of Norio in Henry. So one of the things I do know that this film hits on is the memes. I know I heard a lot of stories about like just kids going wild in cinemas and cinemas having to say something about that. Tazziii mentioned like the day-night cycle, which is a familiar thing in the game, but like there's one I didn't know about, but when I looked up, it was quite touching. So the crown pig was in there as a tribute to a YouTuber, Technoblade, who passed away in 2022 of cancer, I believe. And because that felt, even though in the moment I didn't know, that felt like a moment that they've done something for someone. I just didn't know why, because it was quite abstract in the moment, but they obviously made a big deal of it. So that's because, again, knowing the audience, right? So this matters to. I mean, that's just a sad thing regardless. But obviously, in the context of like the people watching this will know who that is, and then that will mean something to them. So I like when creators do that because it shows they know who this is for.
Well, interestingly on that, apparently that wasn't actually meant to be in the movie originally.
Right.
So Henry's actor, Sebastian, he basically said about doing it, and they thought it was a good idea, so they did it. And I think what was great about that scene was it was such a short moment, but from what I've seen, it hit a lot of people hard. And that's for me, Technoblade. I know him mostly because of a Minecraft creator called Tommy in it. So that was mostly how I was exposed to him. But yeah, I mean, like he's huge in the Minecraft creator world, and like even now, apparently, his dad was saying the other week that he's like, I can't remember how many it was, but he's had millions of followers still, thanks to the Minecraft movie as well. So it's yeah, it's a phenomenon, right?
Yeah, no, stuff like that is just objectively nice, and yeah. And then so when it got to the point of the chicken jockey, that was the point where because that was just funny, but I had no idea why, how important it was. That was the point where I just threw my hands up in terms of this film is A, nonsense, but B, doing that nonsense so well. All right, we're just gonna enjoy this because that's just ridiculous.
I think if we're talking about like things that are funny,
Yeah.
if you've played the game, it was, I'm forgetting characters' names. What was Danielle Brooks's character? Dawn. Like when she's just got a llama in the car. It's like, what's with the llama? Like, I laughed so hard because of the llamas in the game. And I was like very disappointed when the llama didn't go into the game.
That was lost on me. I mean, I figured it was something to do with the game, but
there was a llama in the game, to be fair. But like technically, I'm going to be technical. I think they're alpacas.
Oh yeah, yeah, alpacas, yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's be accurate about it if we're gonna.
But there was just like lots of little bits, and I think they captured like the enemies so well.
Yeah, that initial like day night sequence. I don't know. It just felt like, okay, this is a good tribute to the game. It felt like this is what playing the game feels like.
Yeah, I didn't need that. It's like when they go to the mine with the creepers as well.
I felt
it's so rocket to run out. It's just those little moments that I think it has in there that I'm like, yeah, that legit happens.
Yeah, it's like apparently, so with the film, a lot of the in-game redstone is basically electrical circuit boards and how you power things, make like machinery and all things like that. But basically, they consulted with I feel bad because I can't think of his name off the top of my head. And he was in the same cinema as me, and I didn't know who he was at the time, which I'm sad about. But he makes some amazing builds with redstone, and basically they consulted him on loads of different ideas before the movie. And one of those ideas was actually in the film, which was where in the mine scene where the creepers were, but basically there's like a cactus trap where they step on a pressure plate and it fires cactuses, and that's apparently what he designed. So that's cool. But yeah, no, the chicken jockey scene for me is like I owe a lot to it, to be fair, because the advert I done for Cineworld, which got 6.1 million views on TikTok alone, that was basically Cineworld being very smart and capitalizing on the chaos that was happening by hosting their own chicken jockey screening, which was basically catered to people that wanted the room experience, basically, where they can be more interactive. They wasn't meant to throw popcorn or anything, though. I'm not sure how successful that happened.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
it got them attention. That's the idea.
Yeah, and there was also another version of the Minecraft movie called Block Party that got released shortly after. That when it come to the scenes where chicken jockey and things like that was said, it would pop up on screen with a countdown and basically the lyrics. So like chicken jockey, Steve's Lava Chicken, all things like that, Pink House, all the main memes basically.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, again, the marketing effort, can't follow it. It was there, and I will say, I mean, Jack Black, I just got everything I would expect from Jack Black, but I would say like Jason Momoa has sort of played into it. Like he allowed himself to, because he was the butt of a lot of jokes in this, and I feel like he just went with it, which was cool. Cool to see. Didn't take it too seriously, as I mean, how could you? But yeah, didn't take that too seriously, and it worked. And then, like Tazziii said earlier about jokes that hit at different levels. I mean, when they were doing I can't remember what they try to keep this family friendly. I can't remember what they called it in the film. But when Steve and Garbage Man were.
Oh, man sandwich.
But that's the word. Yeah, let's go with that, man. The man sandwich. I did pause. I'm like, wait a minute.
Full man sandwich. They had to get full man sandwich. That was hilarious.
Okay. That is, we're doing this. So yeah, no, they all. Yeah, that was funny.
Gonna squeeze to keep you locked in.
Yeah, and again, that's that sort of play on the different age ranges with stuff going over people's heads. It's like, without going too much into it, it's like villagers, so how you breed animals or villagers in game. For villagers specifically, they like bread, which is where the love crushing loaf bit comes in. So by feeding them, you'll get little hearts, and then you'll get a baby appear, basically. So that's kind of in that closing credit scene with Stifler's mum as well, why they are eating a French stick, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, no, they I feel they hit on the human and the memes, but then because it felt like, and like we touched on, by the end it is saying something about creativity and holding on to that, bringing that into the real world. It felt like some of the plotting was lost, or maybe it was the pacing thing, because there was a point, and this could just be me again, even despite this, I did think this was a good film. There was a point where I started watching this like a YouTube video, because I knew the stakes weren't that great. I actually don't know what I mean by that, but it feels right to say, like, I just started watching this as a YouTube video. So then I wonder by the end if it did deliver on those themes, like you said. It feels like we all got it, so it must have done something. But do you feel that was carried out well, or well enough to, this is what the film's about, or does it matter? Does it not matter? Just
I
a
think
chicken
so.
jockey.
It was about creativity and not limiting your creativity to a video game. You transfer those skills into the real world. That was the message I got from it.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the same for me. I think fun film, and be creative and do something good in the world, really. With the pacing thing as well, I feel like there was a few points towards the end of the film where it felt like there might have been a few, I'm not sure whether plot holes the right word, but maybe it could have been a bit richer in story. But again, I think the pacing just moves so quick that before you even really realise fully,
don't
you're
get a
back
chance
on.
to sit with it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what did it. It's the pacing, the way it was paced. It's like, okay, I'm just like taking this in. I'm not thinking about it too. Maybe that's what I mean. I'm not thinking about it too deeply. I'm just like, stuff is coming through my eyes, and I'm just taking it in. And we're gonna click to the next video after this. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I think like I said, I think it works. It was such an intro. I'm trying to think I've seen a film like this that does so well, yet has so many issues that, to my mind, that I can't see, but works. We talked a lot about the characters. I don't know if there's any others that stand out, or you want to give a nod to. I did like Henry, not just because of the Norio, the potential Norio inspiration that might come later, but I liked if there was a vessel for the themes, I got it more from him, just the way he was treated at school and how he kind of like rose up by the end and like thrived in that world. I like seeing that, so I appreciate that from him. But Don't know about anyone else.
Magalsha, who's kind of represents
Oh yeah,
the character that
the
did let go
corporate
of all their
pigs.
creative, yeah.
Yeah,
But also that once had a dream and that dream died. Horrid death.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
And now everyone must suffer.
I really enjoyed Magalsha. And I feel like was like a funny character, had the darkness of a villain, but just still with like really fun comedic things. And also, I think for me, this is kind of not character related, but Minecraft related. I think this also like kind of captured the, or at least for me, I got the sensation of like, now I want to play all of the Minecraft games.
It
Like Minecraft
works.
Dungeons and Minecraft. Oh, what's the other one I had loads of fun with? I can't remember the name of the game, but the other Minecraft game. Yeah, like it worked, and I think it captured some of those experiences as well, which is what Magalsha made me think of.
Yeah. That was
Um,
sad, sad character for many
Minecraft
reasons.
Legends. That was the
Legends.
one.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, I feel like for me, probably a mix of Steve and Garrett, to be honest, because I think like one of the deeper things about Garrett and Steve is sometimes like how tough it is to be a man, to be honest. Like, because I think, as well as the pressures of working life, I think what it kind of touches on is that these are two guys that like both have a particular interest, whether it's yearning for the mines or arcade games. And basically, it's how it can be hard to connect with like other guys and like yeah, on that tough exterior, it's like they both underneath they want each other's approval and ultimately they become good friends. Obviously, the closing song of the movie is showing that they're like basically on a journey together now. And yeah, it's just about, I think, maybe things you've lost as well, because I feel like, especially with Garrett, it's kind of like looking back at the glory days and it
Yeah, for
doesn't
sure.
really touch on family and stuff, but he seems alone in the world. And that's something that, although I have my family now, my family that I grew up with are all gone. It's just one of those things that it's like, yeah, it's just like when those people are gone from your life, it's like you do hold on to some of these material things because they're like artifacts. And I think as gamers, like with me in collector's editions, I absolutely love all my collector's editions, all my old consoles and things. And I think, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's something deeper that wasn't like fully revealed there, but.
No, I feel that. I didn't think we get this deep for Minecraft, so my expectations have been shattered. So I can see that with with Garrett, because even the way like his outfit, like it's silly, yes, but it makes him stand out as alone. Because like even in this crazy world, or that crazy world of Minecraft, he feels alone. Like he's the only one like that who looks like that, and yeah, it does sort of help paint that picture of this obviously past glory still clinging on to, but also yeah, trying to keep up this appearance. And it's always it's played for jokes a lot of the time, but then he does have that moment with the diamonds and was like, oh, I need this. And that was actually quite a sad moment. Like I need this, and my life isn't great and all that. So I yeah, I feel that mask kind of drop in that moment. Yeah, that works. Yeah, I'm getting a whole different perspective on this film. So I'm learning. I don't know about everyone else watching, but I'm learning a lot. All right, so we've done a good job of like uncovering the themes. I mean, the one that stood out to me was the creativity aspect, and even that I can in the discussion I can see has been played at different angles. I think Tazziii, you mentioned like not just being creative and not losing that, like we see what happens with Malgosha, but also taking, not just leaving it in the video game, but taking it into the real world. Because I guess ultimately, I mean, you get it from all different angles. Because Henry is creative in the real world and then establishes that in the game, and they benefit from that, because even the scene where they learn to craft and Henry just gets it, he's got it, it fits for him. Like seeing that. But then on the flip side, Steve, who has spent a long time in the game world, is then eventually brought out, and then him and Garbage Man by the end are like together, and they're gonna make what was a failing store look like it's now gonna at least be fun, if not thrive, because I don't know what the business model is on that thing, but they're gonna have fun with it. So yeah, it's like taking that creativity and applying it in different ways. I like that.
One thing I did like is that when Henry fixes the jetpack and goes back to school at the end, that makes him popular, and I like that being smart made him popular. I really appreciate seeing that. So we can switch a narrative, because when I was in school, being smart just made everyone hate you.
Wasn't the thing. was not the thing. So no, that was good. And those kids who messed up his because he worked it out. He did the jetpack, and then they messed up, and now he's got to doubt himself and everything. And yeah, don't be those kids. They didn't get names, I can't remember. But is there any other moment or like scene that we've not touched on that anyone would like to? There was so many. I'm trying to think of anything else that.
Can we just talk about the potato mascot thing falling off the building?
I don't even know. I don't know where that came from.
Okay, I'm glad you also don't know what that was, because that was so random.
All I know is that was Emma's character on blank.
Natalie.
That was obviously Natalie's workplace.
Yes.
Other than that, I don't know.
I feel like that's I feel like that's a reference, though.
I thought
like
it was.
when it happened, I laughed because it's funny, but it also like had some level of familiarity that I can't pin down.
Got to be some great mysteries, right?
Yeah.
I think the thing I saw a few people comment on was the flying scene, because basically for them to have that item, that would mean that they've had to have beat the Ender Dragon, which people were basically saying was one of the plot holes from the game.
Yeah.
But I'm pleased it was there.
Hadn't Steve been like living in the game for like a long time?
Well, like I said earlier, he's not rushing. He's doing what I'm doing. He's just cruising.
Taking his time.
But he like built a lot. I feel like it was reasonable. Did they not see his stash?
It does feel weird to point out plot holes in a Minecraft movie, but I'd take that point if it's accurate. I just really like the I did like that crafting bit. I don't know why, that just I like that. I like seeing Henry get his moment where I got this. I know how this all works.
I forgot to shout out the top gun thing that fired the potato tots. That was class.
Oh yeah, I
with
forgot
the
about that.
random scraps from his pocket from the real world.
Yeah.
But I think that was what was interesting as well, because obviously that's not in the game.
Yeah, but they have to add it now.
Yeah, I mean, but what I liked was the fact that, well, that wasn't in the game, and neither was the chuck buckets, I want to say.
Oh yeah.
Or buck chuckets, I think that was it.
Buck chuckets. Yeah.
It's like those, but what I liked was it was basically saying that you could experiment with your creativity. It's not just the recipes and that's it, like in the game. So I think that was quite cool, because just to fill in the gap in the game, you don't know all the recipes at the start. So even if you open your guide of what you can craft, there'll be items that you don't naturally know until you either loot an item or you essentially put them together. And that didn't exist for a long time. So you did have to sort of know the recipes off by heart or discover them.
I was so happy when I went from like not having played it for ages, and then like they'd added that you remember your craft, and I was like, oh great, thank you. Now I don't have to literally have, well, back then I'd literally have like my whole ass laptop next to me to keep track of recipes. And
two other things that I want to point out. So there's a deleted scene called, I believe, Welcome to Steve's, which is a song they released as well. And it was basically where Steve was in the office before he went back to the mines. You see bits of it in the
okay.
starting.
Yeah, you see some of it,
bit.
yeah.
But basically, he sings a song called Welcome to Steve's, and it's basically him showing this result that he's designed, that I assume is what you basically partly see in the world when he first enters, when it shows it after he's obviously started building.
Okay, interesting.
But basically, he in the boardroom pitching to, I take it, like the CEOs or investors, and they are not impressed at all. So that falls flat. Which again, obviously relatable to what I was saying earlier about the lack of being able to be creative in a lot of scenes, because some people won't see that vision. But also, I liked the fact that there was a lot of people online that I saw were sort of complaining that there wasn't more content creators in the game from the Minecraft world.
Or like featured as themselves or referenced.
Even reference, maybe. I
Okay.
mean, like I said, Technoblade wasn't originally meant to be in it. But then you had people like Dan TDM and a
Yeah.
few other notable streamers and creators from the Minecraft world.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
were just sort of dotted in the auction scene at the garage. But I kind of feel like, again, could you imagine if they just bunged loads of content creators in just for that fan service? That would have been a mistake in my eyes. I think
I agree. Which sounds
Add to
weird
that
because
as
there is a lot of
well.
fan service, and also the film. It's in my mind is like, would that have destroyed it so much? But I think it would have. I don't know. It's a very
I
confusing
have
film to me.
another element to add to that. So, some of you may or may not know, I actually work as a supporting artist in TV and films. So, I have done my fair share of being in the background of movies. And I have heard a lot that most content creators, because they have zero experience being on a set, are actually really difficult to work with. Especially because they're so used to just being the sole person
I was just
on
gonna
camera.
say, yeah.
Mm.
when it's
That-
when it's only about you, then you
Yeah.
treat it differently,
And so it actually makes it really challenging to work
right?
tech creators.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I'm glad, because it probably would have just cost them a lot of money.
Or funny, yes.
And then they would have had to deal with like film sets are challenging to work on. They're really long hours. And so to
A lot
get
of
people that are
waiting.
used to, a lot of waiting to be fed, a lot of. So to get a group of people that are used to like working their own hours,
Yeah.
might have long hours, but those hours are in the comfort of their own home,
Oh no,
where they have
Why is this chair not
however
comfortable?
many screens,
Who's sponsoring this?
and like unlimited whichever energy drink you drink. Like, it's a very different experience. And so if you're not used to that, and also like you actually have to like listen and pay attention, and there's a lot of moving parts happening. And yeah, so I'm like, I completely understand why there wasn't, especially where there's so many practical effects, very limited time not in the overworld, right?
Another interesting little thing as well is Steve's lava chicken, that scene that was done in one shot.
Whoa, I'm impressed. I am impressed. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, this is Jack Black's thing, right? He's got that. I could see that. Just he's just knocking that out.
but that's what I like, because from what I've seen from some of the behind the scenes, it was like a very dynamic cast, and they didn't like bits like that. It was like, no, we don't need to retake it a million times. It just works, and
Because you just need the
obviously,
chaotic energy. Because that's what this film's about. So
Yeah.
don't polish that. Just run it.
and the box office kind of speaks volumes as well.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt
Because-
this was always going to be a success, right?
Well,
I don't
mean,
know.
again,
You say that, but the Borderlands movie exists.
But I feel Minecraft is a different beast, like just
Yeah.
altogether in terms of like recognition and.
I feel like it could have been bad though. Like if the movie was bad, I think it would have flopped.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were hating on the trailer, as you mentioned earlier. So I feel like it wasn't. I mean, Jack Black.
Oh, fair
even
enough,
said,
yeah. Because I cut it off as I was like, no, this is not it, and I don't even play Minecraft. But
because I saw Jack Black talking about it, and he was actually really upset because like he thought it was a great trailer, and Obviously, it wasn't received that way.
Well, yeah.
But again, the film, I think it cost 150 million to make, and it made over 300 million, I think, in the first weekend. So
I think it must be a billion, or must be hitting that. So
last time I heard, it was close. So
okay,
yeah.
all right. So video game movies are great still. I think that's the takeaway from this.
Some.
That's it's like Borderlands. Why do you have to drag us
Yeah,
down?
yeah,
Like, we were doing
set
so
us
well.
back.
But Minecraft, I feel like Minecraft's good because it's not like an amazing film. We actually need video game films. We need that bar to be just make a good film, so that we can have more, and then we can have your like really good hitters once in a while.
Yeah, then I can do my storytelling thing and be like, oh, this is a good story because blah, 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 or however I sound on this podcast.
Especially because I think TV series we've been getting, receiving a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, by the way, guys?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, we had Jack Black in the Super Mario movie. We've had him in the Minecraft movie. Are we ready for him to be in The Legend of Zelda?
Ooh.
Who could he be though? Yes. Oh my god. Not as sorry.
Not as a main. He can't be Link if that's what you're saying.
No,
Link has to shut up. So
he could be. Yeah, he could be Navi. Yeah.
I think there's so many like characters you come across in The Legend of Zelda. There is definitely space.
I can see why you would say Navi, but I'm gonna veto that.
No, definitely not.
Or whatever.
Definitely not Navi.
But I can see why you would say that.
Have a few musical numbers dotted around.
Jack Black is being typecast.
Who's the music man?
Oh, the Song of Storms guy.
Yeah.
In the windmill.
I can imagine him like having making up songs.
He's apparently the guy for this, so I could see that in the right place, right time. I might not be mad at that, but
he was still the best thing, or one of the best things, or no, the thing that impressed me the most about Borderlands.
Oh, they didn't. That he was the only one that didn't mess up his role. Yeah. We're sorry, Borderlands. We did a whole episode on this, and now it's just.
So my bad. Yeah, I'm still not over it.
Yeah, we'll probably still do it again, but we are sorry. We did a whole episode. Go listen to the episode. Don't watch the film.
Right up there with Ready Player One.
Right, yeah, and Thor: Love and Thunder, the axis of evil, of storytelling evil, for different reasons. Yeah, for each one for different reasons. Cool, but even despite the way I started this, I don't think Minecraft is in there. I'm not mad at this film. So that was our discussion on a Minecraft movie, and I'm like, Kate McKinnon is funny. She's good, great comedic timing, and anyway, I can she's great. So that was our discussion. Let us know what you thought, especially if you got all the memes. Ask your parents to send us an email, and then we'll take that feedback. So let us know what you think. Before we wrap up completely, let's get into this week's storytelling tip. Each time we do a deep dive on the podcast, I like to pull out a storytelling tip for others to consider when making their stories. This is a consideration from someone who also creates stories and likes to learn from the techniques or mistakes of others. So for today's episode, and I don't know if this is a technique or mistake. It started off as a mistake. Maybe it's a technique. I don't know. But I wanted to discuss exposition because it's a big thing for me, and it's something I'm keenly aware of when it's done either well or not well. So I would say it's not done great. I'll hold on to that, but let's just talk about exposition for a bit. So exposition is all about explaining what needs to be explained, with the audience caring that you are explaining to them. So it's key to getting people engaged in your story because it enables them to understand the character's personality, their motivations, any internal conflicts that might be going on. It is about showing the audience who a character is rather than telling them. So when a character is described as brave, we might note it, but when we see them running into a burning building to save a stranger, we feel it and we remember it better. So it's that old show don't tell things, and actions allow characters to earn their traits in the eyes of the viewers or the readers, making them more relatable and memorable. So by earning it, we form that natural understanding of their values, their fears, and all that, and it builds that trust as well, and it allows us to interpret as well and make that emotional investment rather than being spoon-fed all the things, except in anime, which also has an exposition problem shown in anime in particular. But anyway, I'll save that for another tip/rant. So in a Minecraft movie, there are issues with exposition, I feel, but with the disclaimer that, as we sort of discussed, I don't think it matters that much for this type of film. But I've already started the tip, so I'm going to continue. So what the film does a lot is that heavy-handed exposition where we see in the beginning, like that lore drop from Steve to familiarize the audience with the lore if you haven't played the games. Later on, we see Henry and Natalie state their relationship with their mother, but we don't necessarily see it. So there's not too much room for emotional connection. So it's that kind of thing. So it's okay here. I feel we can get away with it, as a lot of anime actually does also. But there are instances where a film that is in Minecraft might miss the chance to show characters acting before explaining why they're acting away. So I always feel Pixar are great storytellers. They've got a great series, Pixar in a Box, and in that series mentions that character is shown in a crisis. Robert McKee has a screenwriting book, Story, and he says true character is revealed in the choices a human being makes under pressure. The greater the pressure, the deeper the revelation, the truer the choice to the character's essential nature. And I always keep that in the back of my mind somewhere, just in terms of how to show character without telling about the character. So the character is revealed not by what people say about themselves, but how they act under pressure. I feel that's true in real life as well. So a few examples in other stories. In Finding Nemo, speaking of Pixar, we see Marlin's overprotectiveness. So we're in a way told that, but it is established not just by telling, but through that montage sequence which show the traumatic loss of his wife and most of their eggs. So when Nemo is taken, his relentless journey, Marlin, to rescue him despite his fears, speaks volumes about his courage, his love. A recent example, we mentioned the Lego movie. In Lego Batman, but there's a great example of action-based character exposition with Batman facing off against the Joker and a coalition of villains attempting to destroy Gotham. And from the very first moments, we understand that this version of Batman is arrogant, overconfident, and deeply self-absorbed. And that's all wrapped up in that sequence and how he behaves in that, not just what he says about himself, even though he does say a lot about himself as well. And a personal favorite is Princess Mononoke and the quote-unquote villain, Lady Eboshi, who is introduced neither really traditionally villainous or sympathetic. There's a lot of grey area there. So we see her willing to sacrifice the forest, really, with her industrial pursuits, but her actions show her as a pragmatic realist. So even though she's not big on the trees, we also see her building a society where the marginalized can contribute and be safe. So that's a good thing. So it's that kind of grey area that we see throughout the film. So here are 4 storytelling tips to consider when dealing with exposition in your stories. So number 1 is think about the character introduction. So if it's relevant, you want to begin with a moment where we see the character making a decision or wrestling with a situation that might hint at their core values or fears. In the video game The Last of Us, we see Joel's protectiveness and trauma not just established through exposition, but through gameplay decisions and experiences. So especially that opening sequence with his daughter. So we see how that informs later on. Number 2, let the backstory emerge naturally. So instead of Natalie and Henry stating and front-loading that exposition, you can let the details kind of come up through conflict, flashbacks, emotional triggers that feels a bit more earned. And in Avatar: The Last Airbender, for example, Zuko, we see his character and we get a lot of flashbacks that reveal why he is the way he is, and that makes his vulnerability a lot more relatable. And then actually just watch Avatar if you haven't seen that as well. Number 3, reveal character through reactions. So like I said, character is shown in those moments of someone reacting to something. So responding to that pressure, insults, danger, those reactions when done, especially under stress, offer a better way into the personality and the character's history. And number 4 is don't be meta in your dialogue. So what do I mean by this? So it'll change depending on the medium you're making a story, but you don't need to point out how your dialogue just revealed character, just reveal it. So if someone is saying something that's sarcastic, another character doesn't need to point out that sarcasm has been detected, unless they're also responding with their own sarcasm, and then that might be fine. But they can just react to the sarcasm in a way that maybe shows their own character. You don't have to draw a big arrow to look what I did. So think about that as well. But yeah, exposition, it's a tricky one, but it's most effective when it invites the audience to see rather than just be told. So if you're relying on that heavy exposition, you might be at risk of flattening your character depth. So the challenge is not just telling us who the character is, but making those situations where the character can show us who they are themselves. So let us know if you're making your own story. If you have a view on exposition, especially exposition in anime, let us know what you think. Studio77@mymatter.com. Before we wrap for the episode, Tazziii, let's check in with our guests and find out what they are up to.
Yeah, Danny, we'd love to hear if you've got any interesting projects you want to shout out, and also where online that our audience can find you.
Interesting projects. I've got some more tech projects coming up that have been neglected a little bit. So I'll be doing some new videos. Hopefully, bit of a spoiler maybe. Hopefully, I will be building a new PC soon, which feels much needed at this point. But yeah, other than that, I'd like to do some more cosplay. I think the Steve cosplay's got a little bit left in it still. So I definitely plan on hitting a few more conventions this year. Maybe leading up to, who knows, maybe I'll be in the Minecraft movie too, right? Who knows?
If Jason Momoa could do it, you can get in there.
That's it. Definitely on the same level. But yeah, no, other than that, just carrying on with the content creation, enjoying games, enjoying talking to people, meeting people, learning more about the industry every day, and learning people's stories. That's partly why I like events and stuff. It's just meeting people. It's always nice. Oh, and I'm on Cameo now, guys. If if you have a Minecraft Steve birthday wish you want someone to get, then hit me up. But yeah, generally speaking, you can find me at Big Bots, Little Bots, Unbots on every platform other than X, which is Big Little Unbots. Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you for joining us and bringing your expertise.
Yeah, no, you saved me. You saved me, Danny, because I would have been lost without you. So yeah, thank you for taking the time to chat story with us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you to listeners of the podcast for hanging in there with my my Minecraft ignorance. I'm a bit more educated now. So if you enjoyed this episode of Story X Story, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a future episode, and also go back and listen to the others as well. There's like a whole couple hundred of them. Also, give us a 5-star rating and review, because that helps us reach new listeners and fans of story discussions. We're story creators ourselves. You can discover our manga universe online, including our latest title, Origins Against All Odds. That's mymatter.com. There's also a link there to our Studio 77 Discord, where you can connect with us in between episodes, get a heads up on stuff that we are working on, especially some of our live streams as well, and chat with others there too. Get involved in the Do I Look Like a Gamer video game representation campaign, which is a yearly initiative for diversity and inclusion in the video games industry and culture. We've got a bunch of plans still in the works, so keep an eye on our socials, looklikeagamer.com. You can check out the Campaign 40 this year. There's some video content coming as well, some photos from Comic-Con. And yeah, join us at a future event, looklikeagamer.com. As for the podcast, we release new episodes on Thursdays that include video games discussions, interviews with creative practitioners and professionals, and deep dives into stories across pop culture. You can always give us a shout directly. Our email address is studio77@mymatter.com, and our website with links to subscribe is mymatter.com/storyxstory. So thank you for tuning in, and until next time, stay safe, and remember, I wasn't wrong, but maybe I was a little bit harsh. Take care, everyone.